Hi, welcome back to Jonesy Chats Wrestling, and welcome back to your post WWE Money in the Bank 2021 show. Today's date, 19th July. I'm joined by regular co-host, none other than NXT Steve, the man that stayed up and watched the show. If anyone that's in the United Kingdom, they know what a dedication that is. What time did the show finish today, my man?
About 4:30 this morning.
That's WrestleMania territory, nearly, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know why they've put it back because they used to start them at midnight, which made them a bit more sort of acceptable, like finishing at like 3, and at least you can get some sleep. And I haven't even been to bed yet.
That's what you call dedication to your craft. But no, definitely
Yeah, man.
going to cover this pay-per-view. A lot of talking points coming out the pay-per-view. Thank you very much, obviously, for watching the video. We hope you enjoy it. So let's break it down. Nowhere better to start than the kickoff show. What was your overall kind of thoughts of the kickoff show before we go into the one solo match on that show?
To be fair, it's just the same thing with the kickoff shows. They just have these Hall of Famers that give predictions to matches that we all know are predetermined, and it's just like I find them quite tedious now because it's like I honestly get bored of listening to Jerry Lawler, Booker T, and JBL sit there and go, "Well, I think such and such is going to win," and it's like, what is the point of this? If you're going to do it, just run packages. I don't need to sit there and listen to these 3-4 people plus Sonya Deville on every odd occasion talk about them. But they are what they are, really. It's just they do it just to get this extra match in.
I remember back in the day, we used to have the old free for all, and it used to be a last gasp rush to sell pay-per-views. I guess the film with it, I get it. It's an okay. It gets some more people, camera time, but I think the kickoff show, the whole point of it was this next match, which was the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The Usos basically facing the Mysterios. Yeah, really, really good. We've got new tag team champions. What did you make of the match?
Well, let's start about the dodgy intro for the Mysterios to start with. For some reason, they're outside the Aztec temples in Mexico, and all of a sudden, they're all smartly dressed up and a portal appears, and then all of a sudden they appear in the arena in ring attire. So this portal has the ability to change their ring wear as well. It's pretty dumb, to be honest, because it had no connection to anything unless they're saying aliens live in Mexico. I really don't know. But the match itself, actually a really good match, and it was actually quite a shock surprise because it's a pre-show match. So to get a title change on a pre-show, if anything, they should have swapped this with the other tag team match with AJ Omos and the Viking Raiders. Yeah, because I say this was actually a really good match.
I think it's interesting the fact that they've given the belts to the Usos. Usos have done some great work. If you know anything outside the ring, I think they've done some great work. For me, the title change kind of makes sense. I think this is a SummerSlam rematch that's going to happen again. I think based on the illegal pin as well, that kind of makes sense. But it makes sense to keep Roman's sort of bloodline strong. Them getting the win is fine, and it plays nicely into the finish as well of the main event later on the show, which is good. Have you got anything else you want to add regarding the kickoff show before we go on to the main show?
No, just say it was a really good match. This match deserved to be on the main show. It was a much better quality than the other one. That's it, really. I just say I was surprised as well that they picked up the win here, just because of obviously a lot of things that have gone on outside of the ring regarding the Usos. So yeah, it's good to see them win the tag team titles again.
Definitely. Going to quickly go forward. So obviously the show opens up. We get a fantastic video package. I really kind of enjoyed it. It showed sort of loads of fireworks. There was all the fireworks we've been missing in the Thunderdome for a year, and it's one vignette basically scene. But really kind of liked it. Really hyped up. We got everybody with money and stuff. I thought this was a great way to kind of start the show. This really felt like a big show from the get-go. What did you make of the opening vignette and intro package?
Yeah, exactly the same, man. Just like I said, they've hyped up for so long. It's been so long since we've had a full, well, even just had fans in general back. Obviously, I know early Thunderdome days, they sort of used to have sort of a couple of the performance center recruits just in and around the ring. But yeah, it was all about this pay-per-view. This is what they've been building. I say SmackDown was sort of a starter for what this was supposed to be, and this pay-per-view was just your main course. And obviously you'll have Raw tonight, which is going to be your dessert, which is, I imagine, is going to be equally just as good as the last two shows.
Yeah, let's hope so. So sort of going into the first match we had was obviously this one behind me. It was the women's ladder match for Money in the Bank. A very interesting combination of people. I know we're missing Tamina there. I apologize for that, but yeah, for me, I thought that this match was okay. It never really, in all honesty, kind of got started. There's some very good parts of it, but I think it was just literally they were struggling to pick who to win. When we look at it, I think some of the key kind of moments, there was a bit when Alexa went back to what she'd done before. She was terrifying everyone when she hypnotized Zelina Vega. That was a bit carny, if that makes sense. It was a bit comedic. We then had a bit where Liv Morgan was doing basically Seth Rollins, where she was crying her eyes out because of Alexa was near her, which I thought was a bit stupid. Nikki Ash did do that flying bump that we predicted in the prediction show. She did that flying bump. Crucially, though, everyone's up on the ladder, and then from nowhere, Nikki Ash cheaply gets the briefcase. What did you make of the match, and what do you think of the result?
Starting just from the beginning and going through it all, Lily obviously apparently isn't dead because she had when Alexa Bliss comes in, they have all their augmented reality stuff, and you've got this giant Lily doll. So Lily's not dead, which is a shame. So at some point, Lily will return, which it pains me to say it, but. Starting off, Alexa looked fantastic in her ring attire. Morgan got a huge pop. Naomi got a huge pop, which is always good to see. Things about the match, though, I say it was building, but just say the ending just sort of ruined it for me. You had Bliss trying to use her sort of hypnotic powers to try and summon the briefcase down from hanging above the ring. Funny. Which I thought was really strange. And then she does that hypnotizing thing on Zelina when they're at the top of the ladder, which I thought was quite clever, but doesn't go anywhere. My favorite spot, though, was Naomi powerbombing Liv Morgan onto Vega, who was on a bridge ladder in the corner, because that just looked painful. Let's say it was building, but just unfortunately, like I said, then they decided to bury Bliss outside the ring under like 7 ladders or whatever it was. Insane. And then you get this moment where all 6 of them are at the top of the ladder, and just out of nowhere, Nikki just climbs up, and no one
stops her.
No one stops her.
She flies up the ladder.
Yeah, it just, man, it was the weirdest thing ever, man. It was such well, I don't want to say bad ending. I'll say it's unique because you know, you've never seen it before, but this could have been a lot better finish for me.
What do you make of Nikki getting the briefcase? For me, I didn't see it coming. It was a big shock. I know she's got this new character. There is a positive to that. For months and months, she wasn't used on Raw. They're clearly going to get behind her now. For me, she needs to eventually cash on a heel champion. So that indicates that one of the brands are going to continually have a heel champion, I believe.
Yeah, I really honestly don't think Nikki needed this briefcase at all. The thing is, as well, she's kind of replaced Bayley in that sort of 7 to 8, like, you know, that young demographic, the under 18 demographic. And obviously this is why Nikki's going to fly to the top with this gimmick, because they don't have someone like that in a minute. But yeah, so giving her the briefcase will be fine. I just don't think, as I said, we said in the predictions, she doesn't need it. She'd already got wins over Charlotte and Rhea recently. What's the point for her holding the briefcase? It made no sense. And it was like the only people that got cheered when they climbed the ladder to win it was Liv, Alexa, and Naomi. Everyone else was kind of sort of I'm in and ahhing.
I've got to put it out there, though. I think the thing with it, with Nikki Ash, she had literally little or no offense besides that one bump off a ladder, like for the whole match. Like for her to have no offense and then get the briefcase. Doesn't really make sense of what we've been watching on WTV for me. I think Liv Morgan should have been the one that won it based on what we've seen in recent weeks and the recent wins and stuff. But this was an okay match. It opened the show up okay, but for me, it never really got to that extra gear. I felt that it was a bit of a tamed match by all means. I didn't think that besides that one bump you said, there wasn't a lot of hard hitting bumps. A lot of it was
I just don't know what it is. I can't understand why Liv just doesn't get pushed. Like, she's such a fan favorite, and yet she just doesn't get the props that she deserves. Because say everyone loves her, everyone wants her to do what. Same with Mandy. Mandy, when she first came in, when she was with Sonya, she was doing really well, and yet they just, for some reason, they can't get a championship opportunity between them. Like, I know Liv was stuck in a tag team for ages with Ruby and initially Sarah Logan as well to start with. But, and obviously then she had that weird relationship thing with Lana storyline going on, whatever. That was really pointless. But yeah, it's really stupid the way they just don't push this woman.
I think the thing with this match, last thing I'm going to kind of say about it was the way that it's been built up. These people just thrown in there for the sake of it. They didn't really have a clear plan of who was in it, which for me, I think it was an okay match. I think the one thing we can take from this, I would expect Sonya Deville to gloat at Liv Morgan on SmackDown. So I think that's quite clever. I think that could happen, which would further play up that Liv Morgan wasn't able to get the job done. But Nikki Ash, crucially, is your money in the bank. I hope she's not Otis. That's all I'm going to say. That's kind of the last thing I want to say. You got anything else you want to know before we move forward to the next match?
Like I said, I think the only thing is it's going to be again, they've given this briefcase to a face character, which means that it's not going to be a case of opportunistic cash-ins and teasing the champ for God knows how long. It's going to be, I'm going to challenge you at this date with the briefcase for a match, and it's like it's not what the Money in the Bank is best used for.
I agree. Going on to our next match, this was a Raw Tag Team title match. We had the Viking Raiders against AJ Styles and Omos. It's great to see the Raw Tag Team title on a pay-per-view. What did you make of sort of the match, and did you enjoy it?
Not really, to be honest, because for me, this just felt like it was bigging up Omos. Let's be honest, AJ Styles is the biggest star out of these four men, and he was getting initially the roles that people like Enzo Amore used to get when he was in a tag team with Big Cass. AJ was the one in the ring getting beaten up just for Omos to get the hot tag. I say I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, like I said, this should have been swapped with the Usos and Mysterio's match. It wasn't particularly exciting. The best spot in the match was AJ getting an assisted Hurricanrana from Omos where he throws him over the top rope.
That was cool.
Yeah,
was a nice spot.
yeah. So I'm saying it was probably the best moment of the match. But yeah, this was all just to build Omos up. And don't get me wrong, Omos will do well, but it's just AJ is the biggest star here, and I just don't think that he got treated like he is the biggest star, which is a shame.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thing with it was very much a match of two halves. I think the first half of the match very much was them trying to isolate AJ Styles. Omos obviously doesn't really sell anything ever. Like he literally doesn't sell anything. But it was okay. There were parts where you think the Viking Raiders could have pulled off a sneaky win. But as we said in the predictions, Omos and AJ Styles retained. For me, this was a bit of a filler match. We are just holding on now to SummerSlam, where we are probably going to get this RKA Bro match versus AJ Styles and Omos. I think that finally will be the point where we do get the split between AJ Styles and Omos. But for me, the two-handed choke slam looked quite devastating. The fans seem to be really behind Omos. They seem to really get behind the sheer size of him. But I don't want AJ Styles to be a comedy act reduced because of Omos, if that makes sense. What, have you got any final thoughts before we
go
forward?
No, exactly it, man. It's like AJ Styles is such a big name, and you've got him portraying the lesser character or the lesser wrestler of two. Do you know what I mean? And it's like AJ is the more established superstar. They should be more dominant. They shouldn't be a case of, I know the Viking Raiders are a dominant tag team, but it's AJ Styles at the end of the day. He shouldn't be the one that has to get give out the hot tags and get Omos to come in and save the day. It's not how it should be happening.
No, I agree with you. I think sort of moving forward, so we are going to go next. This match was a really kind of strange match. It's the Raw World Title. We've got Kofi Kingston against Bobby Lashley. Should I just say this was a squash match? Like, let's just kind of break it down. Let's just kind of cut it down now. So this whole match was just spent with Bobby Lashley destroying kind of Kofi Kingston. So for months and months, they've beat Kofi Kingston. They've had him kind of been built up. He was obviously able to get this one win over Bobby previously, and that was like kind of by a fluke back on May 17th. But this match did nothing really. Obviously, Kofi winning wasn't happening. For me, this is a very dominant win for Lashley. Probably needs to happen based on his opponent at SummerSlam next month. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of this. I thought at least they should give Kofi some offense. It's almost like he just got kind of squashed here. What's your thoughts on the match and the overall result?
I actually really like this because it went as long as I said it would in the predictions. It went 7 minutes 43, and I said 7 to 8 minutes of Bobby just dominating Kofi. Yes, it buries Kofi, but for me, they're doing the right thing they need to do to rebuild Bobby Lashley, because Bobby Lashley has been taking L's for a long time now from people that he shouldn't be taking L's from. Then obviously with SummerSlam coming up, I want it's going to be the same sort of length, probably even shorter if it's going to be Goldberg. Yeah, I want Bobby Lashley to do exactly the same thing. They need to dominate Goldberg, just build this hype back up about Bobby, make Bobby an equally as top heel as Roman Reigns. So yeah, for me, this worked out perfectly. Yes, I know Kofi gets squashed and he's wearing his brand new He-Man inspired ring attire with Skeletor on the side, and I imagine Xavier's probably got the He-Man equivalent. But like I said, for me, I think this was perfect booking for Bobby, and the fact that it was so short and Bobby just ragdolled him around that ring, I just thought it was fantastic.
Are you surprised we didn't get Xavier Woods come out and try and make a save of some sort, or at least plead? I was very surprised we didn't get that. I think maybe that could be something that if WWE are clever, that they could really play on that. I think really Kofi and Xavier really could have some sort of heat over that, I think, down the line.
Like a thrown in the towel situation kind of thing, where Xavier just says, no more. And very. Like he didn't even come out with him, which was he's not even around the ring or nothing. So yeah, it's a very strange booking.
I think the thing with it, it's really a wise move. We did say previously predictions Lashley would probably win this, so that was a good prediction on that part. For me, this kind of nicely fits. And with who won Money in the Bank, I think this is a great storyline like what they can do. As I said on the Wrestling Report episode 2 on the Rated R channel, I said on Saturday night, the storyline with this one really fits nicely. You're now going to have BigE come over to try and sort of get revenge for Kofi and Xavier, which is
this
good.
Is why this that's why this ragdolling needed to happen. Yeah, this is why, because it makes just totally makes sense for the Money in the Bank.
Have you got anything else to add before we go to our next match for the Raw Women's title?
No, go for it, man.
Okay, so this was the Raw Women's title match. We've got Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley. For me, this was a really, really good match. It got a fair amount of time. I really kind of enjoyed it. I love the finish. The finish was really good. So Charlotte's basically crying. She's breaking down. Looks like she's having a mental breakdown. She ends up putting Rhea's leg in between the steps and the post. She then kicks it, and then it's finally a tap out. For me, Charlotte finally gets the win that she's probably been overdue for quite a few months. I enjoyed it. I saw a different side to Charlotte here. She really looked like she was determined, and I like this whole thing of her teasing her mental health. I think it could be an interesting angle. What did you make of it and the new champion?
I'm going to say it now. Charlotte Flair, probably the best women's wrestler ever. Because for me in this match, she was fantastic. Let's start off with the fact that the crowd are chanting, "We want Becky."
Yeah.
And Charlotte sticks her middle finger up to the crowd. My eye popped hard. I was like, oh no, she didn't just actually do that. And the fact that they turned this crowd from "We want Becky" to "This is awesome," mate, I'm telling you now, Charlotte Flair easily the best female wrestler, because I don't reckon anyone else could have ever done that. I said she managed to get the crowd into this match, and it was absolutely fantastic. Just a great character-driven base story for this match, and the way every time Charlotte got a 2 count, or the way she tried using her legs to get a pinfall at one point, and yeah, she just genuinely looked like she was going to cry at every opportunity, because it was as if like, I don't know how to beat someone who's beating me at my own game. The natural selection that she done off the top rope was mind-blowing. And say, yeah, I called this and said that she should have won, and man, I was not wrong. Charlotte Flair, let's say you had Asuka versus Rhea before, and I said you need Charlotte in this match, and I'm proving again that Charlotte is just so good.
I think you make some excellent points. Credit to you on the prediction you did now that I got I'm wrong. So with this one, I think what I love about another thing is when she's saying "holy shit" and stuff like that, like the mannerisms and stuff, like she can't believe she kicked out. I really love the heel heat and stuff like that. The natural selection off the top rope was a really nice move as well. But I really like this. I think this is put nicely. Do you think it was wise they didn't bring Becky out after? I think that was a good move. I think the land Becky Lynch was probably sensible here, really. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Charlotte just needs to sort of bask in the glow. Yes, and I think she needed to just bask in the glow of it. Really, I think the Charlotte just needed to have this moment, because she'll come out now on Raw tomorrow night, and we very well may get Becky tonight on Raw. So I'd say it makes you want to tune into Raw now, because there's always that possibility that Becky might turn up.
Definitely, but that's definitely going to be her next challenger, we reckon. It's got to be, hasn't it? Surely.
It's got to be, yeah.
They can't give Rhea another shot, because I think it would just be too much.
It's that or what? Nikki Ash versus Charlotte at SummerSlam?
Yeah, it's not as nice as the Becky Lynch Charlotte match, is it? Let's be fair.
No, exactly.
I think the Becky Lynch return has to be kind of big.
But then, yeah, the problem I have is if it is Charlotte's first title defense, is she going to lose to Becky at SummerSlam? This is the other thing you've got to worry about.
That's the trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, I'm not being funny. If Becky was going to come in, I'm going to want Becky to win.
Yeah.
And I don't think Charlotte's going to lose the title in her first pay-per-view match.
That's maybe why you make it a triple threat, then Rhea can take the pinfall. Oh, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe that's why the laser way out, but it kind of makes sense. You got anything else you want to add before we get to kind of our next match?
No, go for it, man.
Okay, so this match was absolutely cracking. Probably match of the night for me, so I'm going to go into it. So this was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, one of the most best built ladder matches in wrestling history. I'll go too far. The cast, we knew this match was going to be great. It delivered. Like the amount of hard hitting stuff with this, I just really, really liked it. There's loads of kind of cool bits. I love the way that you are getting sort of the squirter. John Morrison, the squirter on Nakamura. I thought that was entertaining.
The dripsticks, yeah.
The dripsticks were funny. I love the whole Riddle hitting an RKO. You've got so many fins, and you've got the sort of intricacy of it. Small fins like Drew McIntyre being taken out by Sheeran Vanke, ready for Jinder. That's a SummerSlam match there. You've also got other nice parts as well there, which was really good. What I really love about this, even up to the end, it was not really clear who was going to get the win. Obviously, we
Yeah.
said BigE. Like I was confident BigE would kind of win, but even in the match, I was questioning it during times. What did you make of the match, and what's some of your favorite moments?
Yeah, like I said, these men's ladder matches, they just seem to go far and beyond any expectations you ever have with them. Like, just looking at my notes here, first of all, loved hearing the crowd singing along to Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance music.
That's nice.
Haven't heard that in years because obviously he's been a heel before. They've given Drew McIntyre a stone to put the sword in now, so it doesn't look really awkward when he puts it in a hole in the floor. But yeah, we get a drip face off with Seth and John Morrison, which was fantastic.
They were a team during part of it, weren't they, as well?
Yeah, we got this. I mean, yeah, they teamed up for a long time. We had Drew and Big E square up to each other when obviously people were just coming in. They were just literally squaring up. That was fantastic. John Morrison hitting some parkour stuff like off of ladders, like flipping out of it, and just like he done some sort of like 360 twisting elbow drop onto Drew, who was on a ladder at one point. KO gets suplexed onto the side of a ladder by Seth at one point. Riddle's hitting RKOs for fun. Drew hits a double claymore on Shinsuke and Riddle. Ricochet with that somersault.
Yeah, that was insane.
Oh my God. When he come off it, I was like, that is the best thing I've seen in a very long time, man. It was such a good dive. Yeah, man. And the powerbomb that Seth does to put KO through the bridge ladder outside. Just, man, this match had everything, man. But like you said, you could not predict who was going to win this, and say Big E winning was 100% the right decision, and say everybody knew that Big E was going to win this.
I think it was just a really, really good match. Like, I think it did everything like you want. Like compared to the women's match, I think this match, the hard hitting stuff, like people that were in the match, everyone had a purpose in this match. There wasn't anybody that didn't do anything in this match, if that makes sense. Even people like Ricochet got to do their spots. John Morrison got to do stuff. I think the whole thing told a story. I just love the whole way this is done. But credits WWE, I just would love to see that Ricochet sort of and John Morrison lost after this pay-per-view because I think they did some great stellar work in this match. But crucially, Big E is your Money in the Bank. This is a clever move, and it does kind of fit him and Lashley. I think will be a good program when it does eventually happen.
Yeah, exactly. Whether he's drafted over or whether it's a case of maybe we get a repeat of Kofi against Bobby somewhere down the line, and Bobby does the same thing to Kofi, but then this time Big E comes out after the match and says, "Oh, if you want to ragdoll someone, try and ragdoll me," and then say Big E possibly beating Bobby for that WWE Championship, because I can't see him beating Roman, if I'm honest.
And no, I don't think he'll beat Roman. I think Big E and Lashley definitely will happen. I can see Big E getting the win over Lashley. Lashley, I can see getting the belt back, but then I think the real money match in this division is Brock and Lashley. And I think they're delaying that to WrestleMania, which I think is wise. You don't want to be chucking it away on SummerSlam when you've got loads of other people there that are returning, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you got anything else to add about the Money in the Bank briefcase before we get to this main event?
No, but obviously there's this Seth Rollins promo before that we need to talk about, because obviously this kind of makes you think that the match is going to go one way, and it doesn't, because obviously you get Seth backstage and he's all like, he's interviewed and he's like, whoever wins the title next, I'm first. And I'm like, oh, okay then. So you get your hopes up with who you think's going to win this next match.
I think the thing with it is that Seth did a great role throughout this. The whole thing with Seth and Edge, it's been built up lovely so far. Really, really good. It's got a real good feel. To me, it reminds me of the time when we had Crush and Randy Savage, that slow build. It's been built really, really nice. But I'm enjoying it. Let's kind of go into this main event then. So we knew this match was going to be cracking. They got a hell of a lot of time. It's Roman Reigns versus Edge. I really liked this. It was very hard hitting. Referees got taken out. There was loads of spots. Crucially, we do end up with kind of Edge hitting the spear. It looks like he's going to get the pinfall. There's no ref. The ref comes down at the very last minute. There's a kick out. I don't know. Roman gets out. Next thing you know, we get Seth there. Seth obviously costs Edge, which is understandable. Roman then obviously executes his finisher, gets the pinfall. Roman Reigns wins. Edge and Seth kind of brawl. They go into the crowd, which indicates false count anywhere almost to me. And then crucially, what then happens is once Roman's there in the microphone, he's taunting the crowd. You're thinking, this is great. I'm thinking all night, we haven't had any kind of real surprise besides Nikki Ash winning. We knew that there was a rumor of a surprise. We knew WWE were going to pull something out. And as Roman is there kind of taunting the crowd, we are just sort of waiting there and then looking at kind of it. We get this. We get none other than Mr. John Cena coming back. We obviously knew John Cena was due to come back. The crowd went electric for him. What did you make of the main event and the John Cena return?
To start off with the match, there was a moment where Edge comes out and there's this like a minute pause of no music. It's just Edge in the ring, and you can feel the crowd just building and building and building because there's nothing happening. And then all of a sudden, Roman's music just finally hits, and he comes out. And then even before the match again, there's a bit where they're introducing Roman, and he's standing swinging the title between his legs like it's something else, like trying to show that he's got this certain part of his anatomy that's larger than anything else with the title belt. But the crowd is pumped. You get one point, Roman's like, yeah, I don't need to be doing this. And Heyman's like, no. What would your father doing all this kind of stuff, getting Roman to get back in the ring. Roman's character work, he has Edge in a sleeper at one point, and his interaction with the crowd and his character work was just simply fantastic. What else happens? Obviously, the Usos try to interfere. The Mysterios
take him out, which is nice. Nice and
exactly.
again.
Which obviously that plays back with the kickoff show match. Seth appears, kicks him in the head, which breaks the submission that Edge has him in. Edge hits Roman with a spear, and the crowd goes 1, 2, and then Roman kicks out, thinking that there's the ref in the ring. I thought it was actually quite a genius spot. But then obviously the ref comes out and he does the count and he kicks out again. And I was like, that actually I thought was really clever. This is obviously after the ref took a bump and they didn't replace the ref for like 4 or 5 minutes. But yeah, Roman hitting the spear for the win. And then he obviously gets on the mic after, stands there and says, now the whole world can acknowledge me. And then we get possibly the hugest pop I've heard in a long time, where we get John Cena come out. And this crowd is loving it. And like I said, I don't think I've ever seen a crowd go that mad for John Cena before.
I think it was great to see that cameo. You've got to do moments like that in WWE pay-per-views where you close the show with a cliffhanger. I think it was a great cliffhanger to do it. We obviously have known for weeks John Cena's coming back, which is very unfortunate. I guess that's down to our thoughts for finding out. But
do you remember when back in the day when Raw used to go off the air on cliffhangers?
I used to love it. That's what I grew up on, like going back to the Attitude Era and stuff. Every single week,
it would give you a reason to come back next week.
He would.
Yeah, exactly. They just need to start doing that again, man. Because if it just ends with someone standing tall every time, there's nothing for you to come back and see what happened afterwards.
I think the thing with it, which was really, really good, was the fact that you are sort of paying off your SummerSlam main event already. You're giving them clear indication of where you're going. You're going to have enough time to build that up, which is a positive. I don't really get what John Cena's issue is with Roman Reigns. Yeah, I don't really understand what the issue is, but I'm sure it'll be fun. John Cena is on Raw this week, which is kind of interesting. I don't understand that he's on Raw, Roman's on SmackDown. That kind of doesn't really kind of make sense to me, but I guess it's going to be one of the things where he hypes it up, but great to see him. I think my only real kind of criticism of this small criticism, Roman Reigns is just standing there. You know what I mean? If the new Roman Reigns is arrogant, you should have just took Cena out. You should have literally just said, all right, Cena, yeah, okay. Cena stands his back, whack with a chair or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That, or just get in his face and hold the title up and says, you're nothing. Do you know what I mean? Just show that arrogance that he has. But like,
I get he's been in a match.
Yeah, do you reckon they're going to milk this John Cena like now thing? Like, he's going to be on like Raw and SmackDown every week now until SummerSlam.
I think the thing with it, Steve, in all honesty, is if he's got a limited schedule because of filming, they're going to try and get him to do stuff when he can. But I don't know why they don't just sort of do a lot of backstage stuff. I know if you want some of this to be built up in front of a crowd, fine. But I don't think you need him on every single SmackDown. But I'm surprised he's on Raw. Raw needs a lift. Don't get me wrong. Raw might get a good rating because of John Cena, but it was a great cameo. It was a great feel-good factor. I'll take out if I didn't know John Cena was coming back. If I hadn't known that for 3 weeks, I'd have been like, "Wow, that was amazing." I didn't see that coming, but because of it was everywhere, we all knew. Kind of everybody in the internet wrestling community knows that John Cena's kind of coming back. That we were saying before we went off air, WWE needs to do a much better job of leaking stuff out. I'm not saying they directly leak it on WWE.com, but this was common knowledge, though, that John Cena was coming back at some point. We thought this would be SmackDown this week.
Yeah, I mean, the thing they've started doing recently as well is they've, like, when Roman Reigns returned after his battle with leukemia, they announced that he was coming back to Raw to get more people to watch the product. I'm not being funny. If he'd have just turned up, it would have been the better surprise, because you'd have been like, oh, wow, Roman Reigns has returned and no one knew about it, which it gives it more of that appeal of that you actually don't know what's going to happen every week. And there's so, like I said, you get all these dirt sheets and stuff that telling you who's going to appear and why. Like we know that we knew Tony Storm was going to appear on SmackDown this week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and it was like if you hadn't have done the promo work and just had her turn up, it would have been more a case of you need to watch the product because you never know what's going to happen and who's going to turn up.
I admit I take responsibility for reading the stuff. I admit that's kind of one of the
things.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's on me for reading the stuff like that's going to happen. But it was a great return. Don't get me wrong, it was a really, really good moment. But there's going to be they won't explain where he's been. They won't explain about the history of Bray Wyatt or anything. That'll be just dropped. And you don't go watching an episode of a movie. You don't go and watch a James Bond movie, and none of the intricacies of the other 5 or 6 films have been explained. You know what I mean? You have to switch off, and it's a bit stupid. I'm interested to see how they can make John Cena even to Roman Reigns. I think Roman's winning this feud. I've got to put it out there now already. Roman's 100% losing John Cena, but I'm really interested to see how the fans get behind John Cena because he's obviously a babyface, and this is one of the problems they had when John Cena was back all the time. He used to be a babyface. Everyone was crying out, "Turn him heel," which there's no real sign of what I saw the other night of him being a heel, and any sort of long-term effect to him having that run-in with the Fiend. Like the Fiend changes people. There's nothing of that. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I can't see them explaining how he got out of the Firefly Funhouse.
Let's be fair. I can't blame him. It's impossible.
Yeah,
to be fair.
It was like it would have been nice if he'd have come out and started like too sweeting people, like NWO John Cena. Like that would have been pretty cool. But yeah, we ain't gonna get an explanation. It's just gonna be a case of I'm John Cena. I'm here. I've had enough of your attitude and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's just it's gonna be same old clean John Cena. And it's like I watched it again. Like when it initially happened. Yeah, it was a good pop, but I've watched it back now because they put the clip up separately on YouTube, and it's like just a John Cena return, really. And it's like I know that they've done it to make SummerSlam this massive party and like the WrestleMania of this year and stuff. But yeah, it's a John Cena return at the end of the day. And like I said, we all know what's going to happen when we get to SummerSlam.
I think the last thing I'm going to kind of say to you before we get a final rating of thoughts, Steve, of the show for Money in the Bank. Steve, what I'll say, I said to you before we went fair, I think you kind of agreed that WWE have had like a year now to build Roman Reigns' opponent up. They shouldn't have to keep going back to Legends. I get it's a big event. It's going to be WrestleMania-like, but you should have had somebody of the level of not maybe the level of John Cena, other main eventer that could go in and challenge Roman, other than these edge Cena people you've had to bring back. Do you think that's a big mistake on WWE's part?
Oh, 100%. Because now, you'd like we said before, you're getting to the point now where who is going to beat Roman Reigns? Is he going to be like Bruno Sammartino? Is he going to go 7 years without losing that title? Because at the minute, that's how they're booking him. And I'm not being funny.
He's the best thing in wrestling, though.
Yeah, but it's like, it just, I'll agree with that. He is the best thing to watch in wrestling, but they're not, this is the problem. They're not building anyone up to face him. So you're just going to get you're going to get the same generic faces that, at some point we're going to get, I don't know, Cesaro facing him again, or do you know what I mean? There's no one that's quietly being built up to be a contender to take him. I mean, they're going to have Karrion Kross come over from NXT and be a face to take that title off him? I don't think so.
I think the thing is, like, you'd have thought WWE would have thought back in October, we know that we got this big idea for Roman Reigns. He's getting over. We need to build someone up over the next 6 or 7 months ready for SummerSlam. And the problem is there's none of that long-term booking because they don't have King of the Ring or anything now to elevate people. It's tough, but let's make the best of it. John Cena versus Roman Reigns will be a great match. I think it's great to see a legend back. Don't get me wrong, I think that's fun. It does make SummerSlam certainly feel a bit bigger. What's your kind of final thoughts and score of Money in the Bank? What would you rate it out of 10?
I wouldn't say it was the best pay-per-view of the year, although it did probably have 2 of the best matches of the year with that men's Money in the Bank match and the Edge Roman Reigns one. And to be fair, even that Charlotte one was pretty good.
Was good.
But overall, I'd give it an 8, to be fair, because like I said, if you take out the tag team match, the rest of the pay-per-view was all right. Well, the women's Money in the Bank match was all right up until the ending, but the last 3 matches was where the money was with this one.
Definitely. I think for me, I'm going to go 8 out of 10. I think it was a really good pay-per-view. Like the last 2 matches kind of made the show for me. I think the Charlotte Flair match was good as well. The opening 2 matches were not for me really, but I think it was good. It wasn't as good as WrestleMania Backlash, but it's so great to see fans back. That's the biggest positive coming out of this. We actually got the fans back, which means we can generally see who they're behind, which is great to see.
I actually forgot to mention to you, there was one clear point where you had crowd audio being piped in, and it was...
Oh, no.
I can find it. I believe. Oh, it was during Kofi's entrance.
Oh,
This was my other thing was because you had Kofi's entrance and they had the New Day Rocks chants being piped in because you can see Kofi and you can see the crowd and not one single person is chanting or clapping, and it really irritated me, man, because I was like, you really shouldn't be doing this, man.
yeah, I think I get that they want to make a baby face, but yeah, disappointing they have to do that. But no,
Yeah, man.
I think it's been a great first pay per view back with fans. Looking forward to Raw tonight. But as again, Steve, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you as always for letting us hear your opinion. I appreciate you having no sleep and coming on. As always, from Jonesy Chats Wrestling, we'll probably have some more videos in the week. I understand you're going to do NXT this week, Steve. I'm sure that'll be a big one following the Mandy Rose debut last week. I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah.
And as always,
It should be fun.
thank you for watching. Stay safe, enjoy Raw. And as always, please drop a thumbs up on the video if you've enjoyed it. It really helps. And as always, please subscribe. We are on the road to 200 subscribers, aiming to get there by SummerSlam. Slightly optimistic, I think, but please, if you can help by subscribing and you watch us, please do. But as always, take care, enjoy yourself, and have a good day.